once again, it's very hot here. Don't worry, after this I'll take a break. I was originally going to wait till Chrono got here, but he might not have the time to, so I'm just going to stop after this one. Anyway, we're going to head into this and see where the heck it goes. Who knows where the heck it goes? But either way, I don't know anything about JHIAXUS, but that is a kind of cool name, I'll say at the very least. Anywho, we're going to end this. If you like what we're doing here, you know, And also, I don't know why I was saying the end thing. My head's scrambled today. Alright, head out. Alright, see you later, Common. We'll play Ace Attorney another day.
This week we're looking at a figure from Cybertron's past who seeks to create a united future for the Transformer race and the galaxy at any cost. These are the basics on
JHIAXUS.
JHIAXUS was an original character created by writer Simon Furman and artist Derek Yanover to be the lead villain of Marvel's Transformers Generation 2 comic book in 1993. A hulking robot with a bat-winged jet alternate mode, he was the commander of an army of Decepticons sweeping across the galaxy, cyberforming organic worlds into tiny replicas of Cybertron to establish a Cybertronian empire. Marvel had only guaranteed the comic 12 issues unless it sold well enough to continue, and Furman named the character as a punning reference to what he saw as the comic's inevitable cancellation. JHIAXUS.
I mean, that's a good way to get a name off, I guess. As good as anything else. But either way, I do like the name. The colorization... I'm not sure what to think about it, though. With the colorization of the character here. Anywho, in we go, once again.
JHIAXUS' story began at the dawn of Cybertron, when Primus, the god of light, created the first Transformers out of the fabric of the planet. These robots multiplied by dividing their bodies over and over, until the Cybertronian race reached a predetermined size set by Primus, whereupon the process stopped and the Transformers lost all memory of it. However, eons later, during the time that Optimus Prime and Megatron's forces were stranded on Earth, a group of Decepticons left behind on Cybertron rediscovered the process and began multiplying again, secretly spawning a huge second generation, of which JHIAXUS was one of the first. Born without conscience or morality due to multiplying beyond what Primus had intended, these new robots saw themselves as being above the Autobots and Decepticons and their war. Under the leadership of the Liege Maximo, with JHIAXUS as their military commander, they left Cybertron to pursue what they saw as their species' true destiny, conquering other planets, wiping out all non-mechanical...
These guys kind of look like Death's Head a bit to me right here. I don't know if anyone else sees that. Hello, Corrin, it's good to see you. But yeah, these kind of look like Death's Head to me. But it's an interesting idea to have them to where they were preset to continually multiply until an end time. But don't the Transformers just kind of make more of themselves? Maybe that's just me. Yeah, that's just me being silly.
Like a clone?
Yeah, they clone each other, or like, it's weird as far as I can tell.
Oh, gosh, disgusting.
life to found a galactic Cybertronian empire. At first, JHIAXUS was a cruel, violent bot who took sadistic pleasure in hurting others. But as time went on, determined to distance himself from his warlike ancestors, he buried this part of himself to appear cold and emotionless. In the present day, when Optimus Prime's Autobots finally discovered the existence of his forces, JHIAXUS invited them to join him and become one united Cybertronian race again. But
Optimus
Prime's
would never
refusal and subsequent efforts to stop him
so
so enraged JHIAXUS that his control began to slip and he regressed into the vicious warrior he had once been. Lost to this anger, JHIAXUS was unprepared for the threat that would ultimately destroy him. The Swarm, a deadly mass of dark energy generated as a byproduct of the Cybertronian's reproduction, which tore him to shreds.
Oof.
As an original character created for the comic, JHIAXUS wasn't part of the Generation 2 toy line, but a decade later, in 2003, fans were surprised when a figure bearing his name was released in the Robots in Disguise line. The toy was quite the oddity. As an orange and black recolor of Beast Machine's Jetstorm, it didn't look anything like JHIAXUS, but
Heretic beings have indulged in... I disabled that a long time ago. You guys just never reinstalled it. I can't believe you guys didn't realize it.
A profile belatedly released through the Transformers Collectors Club in 2004 characterized it as a version of the character who had been abducted by the Dark God Unicron and reformatted into this new shape to serve him.
Okay, then.
In 2008, JHIAXUS's creator Simon Furman revived the character for IDW Publishing's Transformers comic books.
Cool.
For this series, Furman reinvented JHIAXUS as an amoral scientist, the teacher of Shockwave, whose experiments with Cybertronian genetics created the female Transformer RC and the combiner Monstructor. Similar to the G2 comic, JHIAXUS left Cybertron in the distant past to conquer other worlds, as part of a crew led by the Cybertronian supremacist Nova Prime. But on their journey, they were sucked into a parallel dimension known as the Dead Universe, where they became undead beings. They returned in the present day, JHIAXUS having devised a means of expanding the Dead Universe to consume the living one. But he was stopped by his own renegade creation, RC, who took delight in killing the undead scientist over and over and over again.
Wow.
Later IDW stories would see JHIAXUS rescued and restored by his crewmate Galvatron, after which he joined up with his old pupil Shockwave in a mad plan to collapse the entire universe into a black hole.
Did not ask JHIAXUS.
Tying in with this storyline, a new JHIAXUS toy was released in the Transformers Generations line in 2014. A retool of the Generations Armada Starscream figure, with a head based on JHIAXUS's IDW look, but the orange color scheme of the Robots in Disguise figure. The comics explain this change in appearance by having JHIAXUS don a suit of reactive armor that copied the powers and abilities of anyone who attacked him, in this case, Starscream. Still, the suit wasn't enough to stop Starscream.
Wait, that's the look they gave Starscream from Armada, but Sparky dying. I think you can stupid armor for this JHIAXUS. Interesting. This Starscream is probably like his usual form.
Impaling JHIAXUS with his swords, ending his life for good.
Or a good soldier.
His role in IDW's comics really put JHIAXUS back on the map, and led to appearances in a variety of other media, each new story putting its own spin on the basic idea of a Transformer from long ago who left Cybertron to establish a united empire.
That's not a bad idea.
In 2012, the Collectors Club introduced a version of JHIAXUS from the world of the original Transformers cartoon, based on the Robots in Disguise toy. This JHIAXUS was a Decepticon created by the Autobot sage Alpha Trion, and given the mission of convincing other Decepticons to make peace with the Autobots and reunite as one race. When his efforts met with failure, JHIAXUS left Cybertron to think and plan, ultimately concluding that the only way to unify the Transformer race was to wipe them all out and replace them with a new generation made up of clones. Much to JHIAXUS's surprise, when his clone army attacked Cybertron in 2012, the Autobots and Decepticons chose to end their war and join forces to fight
of course they did.
Meaning that while it hadn't happened in the way he had intended, JHIAXUS had indeed succeeded in uniting Cybertron.
Kind of funny.
Content with this outcome, JHIAXUS surrendered, but was then immediately killed by Megaplex, his own clone of Megatron. In 2013, Simon Furman reinvented JHIAXUS for a second time in the comic Regeneration 1, a series Furman wrote to essentially be an alternate version of the Generation 2 story that took the original comic's place in the Marvel timeline.
Alright.
this version of the story, JHIAXUS was reimagined as a senator from Cybertron's golden age, who set out to build his empire using power and knowledge he stole from the massive Cybertronian database, the Underbase.
Alright then.
To keep his schemes a secret, JHIAXUS erased all record of himself from the Underbase before leaving Cybertron, but this would prove to be his undoing, as
Sounds like a
during
bad
his
idea.
conflict with the Autobots, the Underbase itself, seeking to restore that which he had taken from it, possessed Starscream and absorbed JHIAXUS into itself.
Well,
Outside
then,
of
he's
these
dead.
major appearances, JHIAXUS
He
has
always
cropped
seems
up
to
in
die.
various other places, like the video games Rise of the Dark Spark and Transformers Devastation, which took
He was?
inspiration from IDW and depicted him as an amoral scientist. Most recently, he's been featured in the 2019 reboot of IDW's comic book universe, as a high-ranking member of the Decepticons in the faction's early days, with an appearance based on his
Why is
Generations
Bumblebee
toy.
one? This
But
confuses
in
me.
2022, a comic-accurate JHIAXUS figure is
Oh, cool.
finally on the way in the Transformers Legacy toy line, faithfully based on the character's original Marvel Generation 2 comic book design. It's a toy that's been a long time coming, but if there's one thing JHIAXUS has always been good at, it's biding his time. A bot from the past waiting for just the right moment to make his return and claim the future as his own.
Seems like it.
And those are the basics on JHIAXUS. Where did you first encounter this guy? Which take on
Well,
the
just
character
now,
is
really.
your favorite? Let me know in the comments.
So I'm gonna say this, guys. I don't know much about the stories involving JHIAXUS besides what I was just told. So if you have any interesting parts you want to tell me, well, go ahead. I'm honestly kind of interested here. But yeah. Besides that, what do you guys think of JHIAXUS? He looks kind of cool. What do you think, Rain?
Cool.
I think I like kind of his color scheme. The name kind of looks cool, even though it's literally just JHIAXUS. Anyway, thank you all so much. Check out Rain's channel of covering music, and I'll see you all later. I'll see you all later. You can't stop me. Like, comment, subscribe. And
No,
if you,
stop it.
if you want to see me reacting to Transformers, head over to the Patreon. There you go. It is a cool character concept with just him coming back to menace the Autobots and Decepticons.